Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Krimmer Show, broadcasting from Toronto. Now, some of you may have noticed I was off the air for a few days. Let's just say the network and I had what corporate lawyers call a difference of opinion. So here I am on YouTube, the platform where all fallen talk show hosts go to be reborn. Thank you, YouTube, my beautiful backup plan. You know, everyone says they love free speech, right up until you actually use it. Turns out, say whatever you want comes with a few asterisks. You know, they told me free speech stops where trouble starts. So I learned early, the loudest mic is the one nobody lets you keep. That's why I'm here, on YouTube, the last place on earth where you can tell the truth, right between a cat doing taxes and a guy explaining inflation with Lego bricks. I'm not saying I got censored, but let's just say my last memo had more highlights than a Wall Street earnings call. So here we are. Independent, unfiltered, and one algorithm away from being shadow banned. Don't worry, I came prepared. Coffee, microphone, and a Red Bull. Not the drink, the toy. It sits on the desk to remind me of NVIDIA and Oracle stock charts, both charging like it's a bull market on espresso. By the way, you see this white coffee mug on my desk? Your brand could go right here. Caffeine sponsorships are still open. Highest bidder gets naming rights to my heartbeat. So hey, do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, and smash that bell. Because the economy isn't the only thing that needs a little stimulus right now. Let's dive into this week's top 5 headlines everyone's talking about. Number 1, OpenAI and NVIDIA's $100 billion strategic partnership. Sam Altman says, I need GPUs. Jensen Huang says, you know who's got GPUs, but I don't have money. Jensen, that's fine. Here's $100 billion. Call it a strategic partnership. By 9 a.m., OpenAI and NVIDIA announced strategic partnership to build 10 gigawatts of data centers. By 9:20, the stock takes off like a jet on earnings season. It's as if Jensen tossed $100 billion out the window and caught it back before it hit the ground. Number 2, Oracle joins the party. A $300 billion cloud deal with OpenAI, plus a $40 billion chip order from NVIDIA. Let me get this straight. NVIDIA funds OpenAI. OpenAI purchases NVIDIA chips for its data centers. Oracle sells cloud space to OpenAI, then buys more chips from NVIDIA. Analysts call this circular financing. Exciting? Sure. But some say it smells a little too familiar. Not fraud, just extremely ambitious capitalism. The internet split. Half say genius. The other half call it inside job 2, GPU drift. Circular financing means companies use their own money to fund their biggest customers, who then spend that money right back with them. On paper, everyone's growing. In reality, they're just recycling capital with interest. Exciting to watch until the music stops. Number 3, the rate cuts. In September, both the Federal Reserve and the Bank of Canada trimmed rates by 25 basis points. Markets cheered like someone found Bitcoin under the couch cushions. Number 4, gold hits a record high at $3,800 an ounce. Investors are scrambling into ETFs and central banks are stockpiling bullion like they're building their own Fort Knox. All that buying pressure is fueling the rally. When you see this much gold hoarding from governments and hedge funds, you know trust in paper money is wearing thin. Number 5, tech soars, gold soars, rates drop. It's like the economy's having a midlife crisis and bought both a Lamborghini and a bunker in the same week. So what does it all mean? Let's ask the man who moves markets with a single sentence. Jay Cash.
James, is that a spotlight? Or are those yield curves just reflecting off your hairline again?
Hey, that's not a glare. That's a recession indicator. Careful, Jay. At least I don't molt under pressure. When the folks upstairs tell you to cut rates, do your feathers ruffle or do you just flap harder?
Policy decisions have many voices, some louder than others.
Let's get serious. Jay, the Fed has a dual mandate, inflation control and job stability. Why cut rates now?
Exactly. The Fed sees the labor market cooling, job growth slowing, unemployment claims creeping up. We want to ease pressure before things get worse. Cutting now gives businesses breathing room not to lay people off. Also, inflation is still a threat. But if rates stay high too long, you choke investment, hiring, and growth. The Fed has to balance. Too much heat, inflation wins. Too much cooling, the job market cracks. So this cut is preemptive, a signal we're watching the weak spots and ready to act.
So you're basically DJing the economy, keeping inflation on mute and employment on loop.
Something like that. Except sometimes my playlist crashes the market.
How much does a single cut really help workers?
It buys time. Lower borrowing costs help businesses refinance and avoid layoffs. But it's not instant. Think of it as taking your foot off the brake a bit. You're still slowing down, just not spinning out.
So the economy's on ice, and you're hoping for a Tokyo drift instead of a pileup.
Exactly. Graceful chaos.
Let's talk mortgages. In Canada, variable rate borrowers might get some relief soon, though banks move slower than Windows updates.
True. Variable loans adjust first, but always with a lag.
Fixed rate renewals, though. People jumping from 2% to 5%. That hurts.
Exactly. Fixed mortgage rates follow bond yields more than overnight rates. Here's why. When investors buy government bonds, demand pushes prices up. Bond prices and yields move inversely, so higher prices mean lower yields. Mortgage rates track those yields because banks fund long-term loans through bond markets. When long-term yields stay elevated, it signals that investors expect inflation to linger or government borrowing to stay heavy. That's why fixed mortgages don't drop much even after a rate cut. The bond market's basically saying, nice try, but we don't buy it.
And what about FX? Both Canada and the U.S. cut rates. So where does that leave the currencies?
Currencies trade on relative strength. If one country offers higher rates, its currency looks more attractive. When both central banks ease, it's a tug of war. Who cuts more aggressively? If the U.S. dollar weakens faster, Americans actually feel poorer abroad because their dollars buy less foreign currency.
So it's not about being rich or poor. It's about who's losing purchasing power the slowest.
Exactly. FX, the world's fanciest contest for second place.
And for savers, CD and GIC. That's certificates of deposit in the U.S. and guaranteed investment certificates in Canada. They're taking a hit, too.
Right. Lower rates mean smaller returns on savings. Borrowers win, savers lose.
So my CD's new name is Compact Disappointment.
Appropriate.
So let's recap. OpenAI and NVIDIA start the most expensive friendship in Silicon Valley. Oracle joins the loop with a $300 billion cloud deal and a $40 billion chip buy. Both the Federal Reserve and the Bank of Canada cut rates. Gold hits $3,800 thanks to ETF inflows and central bank buying sprees. And everyone's deciding if this is a boom or a trailer for the next crash documentary. It's capitalism's oldest magic trick. Turn liquidity into confidence and confidence into valuation. Or as history calls it, Act 1. I'm James Krimmer. Thanks for watching The Krimmer Show. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time.